A question we've been getting a lot recently is whether or not you can go from receiving TDIU to being permanent and total. Let's dive into what that's all about. Total disability based on individual unemployability is for folks whose ratings don't add up to 100% with VA's funky math, but for one reason or another cannot work or cannot maintain a job because their service-connected disabilities prevent them from doing that. Now, one test for that is the income test. The VA will presume that you're able to maintain a job if you make above a certain threshold. And for 2025, that's about $15,000, a little over $15,000. So if you make more than that, the VA will say, wait a minute, yes, you're disabled, but you are clearly working because you made more than that, so therefore you shouldn't be getting TDIU. Now, receiving TDIU doesn't prevent you from making more than that, but what the VA might do is they might actually come back to you and say, hey, listen, we saw that you made more money last year, you're receiving TDIU, tell us why you should continue to receive TDIU. And that's a subject of other videos that I've made, so I'm not gonna get too much into that. Back to the math. Perhaps the math shows that you have 70% rating for PTSD and 30% for migraines and 10% for tinnitus, which does not add up to 100%, but you are receiving TDIU. And you're thinking, okay, but I really would prefer to be permanent and total because I would like to try to work. And as I've said before, receiving TDIU does not prevent you from trying to work. It just might cause you to lose TDIU down the road. But maybe you think that you are more appropriately rated at that 100% level or receiving the benefits of somebody at 100%. You can absolutely go from TDIU to being permanent and total, but there are some risks involved because first you have to figure out what ratings can go up. If you're at 70% for mental health, getting to 100% it can be a challenge depending on what the ratings are. If you don't have the evidence that your migraines should be at 50%, then 30% might be the correct rating. So you would probably want to look at other secondary conditions that are currently being caused by your service-connected disability. Some folks have been able to link sleep apnea or weight gain, which results in diabetes, etc. Maybe there's some conditions that you haven't claimed yet that were related to something that happened in service, or maybe there's a condition that recently became presumptive that you'd like to claim. So yes, you can become permanent and total, but you have to start thinking about what other conditions are related to my service that are either underrated or denied that maybe you want to revisit because you think that they were improperly denied. I don't generally recommend folks just start applying for things unless they really, really want to try to work. But again, like I said, TDIU does not prevent you from trying to work. And to lose TDIU after you've been working, you have to show that you've actually maintained the job. So even if you exceed that threshold, that money threshold, let's say you work for 6 months and you make $20,000, but then you get fired. Well, that's not maintaining employment. Yes, you've made enough money, but you lost the job after 6 months. So TDIU might still be an option for you. It might still be on the table. So I often will advise, like, listen, if you're receiving TDIU, first, figure out what might be underrated or what other conditions might be related to service. Start with the actual disability and figure out whether or not you think you can get those service connected and then go from there. So it's not something that you necessarily want to do preemptively to go start applying for other conditions or trying to go from TDIU to permanent and total. But again, it's all about what conditions are affecting you and what their severity is. If you've been denied TDIU or you're just rated too low, give us a call. Maybe we can help. So until next time, take care.